Very good evening. You're watching Primetime News on TV1. This is News First, where the people come first. I'm Mariam Gunawidaya. We start off with a look at the headlines.
President's US visa request rejected. Basil Rajapaksa tries to flee, stopped from boarding the flight. Don't play double games. Gota and Ranil must resign. The protesters reiterate.
මේ ජනාධිපති අගමැති යනකම් මේ සටන අපි තීව්‍රාකාරයෙන් කරගෙන යන බවට අපි ස්ථිරව කියා සිටිනවා.
Parties in discussion about a new government. Price of bread and buns increased. Lives of kidney patients in Anuradhapura at risk owing to the fuel crisis.
Main sponsor.
Earn a highest interest rate of 21% for 4 months fixed deposits. LB Yasaisuru.
In your lead story tonight, Sri Lanka Air Force has said there is absolutely no truth in the audio recording that was released to social media claiming that President Gotabaya Rajapaksa is staying in a private house belonging to Air Force Commander Air Marshal Sudarshana Pathirana. In a statement, the Air Force said that this was propaganda published to tarnish the reputation of the Air Force and the Air Force Chief and to achieve the narrow, opportunistic objective of spreading hatred and anger among the public against the Air Force.
Where is the President of Sri Lanka? The Hindu website quoting a top official reported that the United States rejected Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's recent request for a visa. The AFP reported that 15 people, including the President, attempted to leave the country from the Katunayake airport yesterday but missed 4 flights due to an issue relating to the process of travelling. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has already informed the Speaker that he will step down on Wednesday. And on Monday, the President's office said that the President will only communicate through the Speaker of Parliament. What happened to Basil Rajapaksa? President Rajapaksa's brother and former Minister Basil Rajapaksa visited the Katunayake airport to leave the country early this morning. However, he had to turn back due to protest by other passengers and officials inside the airport. Former Minister Basil Rajapaksa had arrived at the Silk Route Lounge at the Katunayake International Airport to travel overseas. It was also reported that Basil Rajapaksa was once again heckled by passengers when he attempted to obtain services from the counter for normal passengers. Immigration and emigration officers have stepped away from operating the Silk Route terminal.
The
Silk Route is a terminal where any passenger can obtain services and facilities by making the necessary payment. Following yesterday's events of politicians and those connected to them trying to use this service, there was some sort of tension in the community and some of our officers have even received threats. Given the situation, we decided to step away from this terminal. Basil Rajapaksa was scheduled to arrive yesterday and we announced our decision before that. The trade union action did not affect any passengers.
The Sri Lanka Nidahas Sevaka Sangamaya said it stepped away from operations at the Silk Route terminal at the Bandaranaike International Airport with effect from noon today. Immigration and emigration officers at the Mattal International Airport also stepped away from their operations.
What would it mean if the Prime Minister becomes the acting President? Here's former President Maithripala Sirisena's take on the matter.
Former President Maithripala Sirisena emphasized that if the current Prime Minister somehow becomes acting President, it would be against the people's aspirations.
As far as I know, there is a race for the presidency. We believe that the resignation of the president will be announced by tomorrow. Thereafter, if the election of a new president takes place as per the constitution, the Prime Minister would become the next president. We are unaware of his decision to resign or not. There is a general opinion of the people of the country, especially among those protesting, that the Prime Minister should also step down. At this time, the government has to deal with the people who are involved in the struggle that made this historical revolution, especially those who are in the movement, and discuss with those organizations. That's why we have always told the Speaker and everyone responsible in the government the importance of holding discussions with them and taking them into account in the struggle to implement a political, economic and social action taken as a government apart from whatever measures the government takes in Parliament. If these activities are delayed, day by day our country may fall into a serious and much more difficult situation than we assume.
ජනාධිපති ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමා ඉවත් වීමෙන් අනතුරුව වැඩබලන ජනාධිපතිවරයා විදියට අගමැතිතුමා පත් වෙනවනේ. ඔව්. ඉතින් සතියකටවත් එහෙම ජනාධිපති වෙන්න ඉඩ දෙන්නේ නැද්ද?
ඒක ඉතින් මේ අපි දන්නේ එතුමාගේ හිත කොහොමද වැඩ කරන්නේ කියලා ජනතාවගේ හනට කන් දීම තමයි මේ වෙලාවේ වහවහම කළ යුතු වෙන්නේ. අමාරු තැනකට රට වැටෙන්නේ නැතුව.
An all-party conference was held in Colombo to discuss the plan that will be in place until the end of the people's struggle. Activists at the Gota Gogama protest site in Colombo announced their acting plan today.
අපි කියා සිටින්න කැමති පළමුව
The 13th of July is the deadline for President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and their government. The people have accepted this fact. Thousands of Sri Lankans are already heading to Colombo. On the 13th of July, if the President and the Prime Minister fail to resign, we will take the people's struggle to the next level.
බල ගැන්වීම අපි ආරම්භ කරනවා.
ඔන්නම් පාර්ලිමේන්තුව මේ සඳ කැදවන් තිබුණා. ඔන්නම් අගහරුවාද කැදවන් තිබුණා. අද මේ රටේ මිනිස්සු ඉන්නේ තෙල් පෝලිං වල. මේ ආර්ථික අර්බුදය ඉස්සරහට මේගොල්ලොන්ගේ
Parliament should have been convened today. The people of this country are spending their days in fuel queues. They have taken 1 week for their play for power under the guise of the economic crisis. Then they voice concern whether Ranil will leave or not. We would like to inform all groups in Parliament not to play with the lives of the people. If you do not solve this, we will have to see the games of Ranil Wickremesinghe for months to come. We need to be ready for that. You are responsible to end it.
ඒකේ වගකීම තියෙන ඔබට ඒක ඉවර කරන්න කියන එක අපි අවධාරණය කරමු.
අග්‍රාමාත්‍යතුමා තාමත්
The Prime Minister continued to remain, and it appears he does not understand the ground situation. I suspect that he is preparing for something. A group from the SLPP is working to eliminate the aspirations of the people, and a family that is a curse to the nation is once again conspiring to defeat this revolution. If he somehow becomes president, he can prorogue Parliament, and all MPs must be prepared to impeach him. That is the only way to stop it.
අපි පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රීවරු හැමදෙනාම සූදානම් වෙන්න ඕනේ දෝෂාභියෝගයක් බාර දෙන්න කතානායකතුමා. ඒකේ තුලින් තමයි ඒක අපිට වළක්වන්න පුළුවන්.
අවුරුදු 30ක් තිස්සේ කෙල පෙරාගෙන මේ ජනාධිපතිකමට පෙරේත වෙලා හිටපු මේ රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ ඉල්ලා ආශ්‍රය කළ මට නම් බලාපොරොත්තුවක් නැහැ.
I don't see Ranil Wickremesinghe, who was waiting to become president for 3 decades, preparing to step down. If Ranil Wickremesinghe does not step down when the president announces his resignation, he will become the acting president and we will not be able to prevent. Before we chose to drive him away, he becomes acting president. We must stop him from becoming the acting president. He has no shame. I condemn the torching of his house. We have doubts about that as well. Since he has no shame, he will try and accept the post. He has been waiting greedily for this. If he becomes acting president, the SLPP will appoint their own prime minister. If the acting president steps down, they will bring a SLPP president. They still have the 2/3 majority and the SLPP wants a Rajapaksa as president. We need to have a program to ensure that Ranil Wickremesinghe resigns along with the president. If we decide to drive him away after he becomes acting president, that will create issues for future presidents and prime ministers.
We are totally with you on the demand that the president, the prime minister and all of those involved in the governance of this country must stand down immediate effect. The prime minister was also stepped down, should have stepped down at the same time. I am stressing this because if the prime minister hadn't come running and grabbed this post, we might have achieved this 2 months ago. If the Prime Minister doesn't step down immediately, under the provisions of the Constitution, he will act in the office of the President even for a few days. And I think even for a day, it must be avoided. We can only speak at meetings. We haven't been able to achieve many of these things. You all are the ones who have been able to actually make things happen. And I'm making a request that you must make this also happen immediately within today. We will do whatever we can in raising our voices, but it must happen.
Protests took place across many areas in Sri Lanka today as well, demanding the resignation of the President and the Prime Minister.
Multiple protests took place in Sri Lanka, calling for the immediate resignation of the President and the Prime Minister. The National Bhikkhu Front had organised a religious event to coincide with the protests in Kandy. Before performing the religious deed, the Mahasangha walked from the Kapatipola Hall in Kandy across the city and then proceeded to the main entrance of the Temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic.
There is no point if only the President steps down. Ranil Wickremesinghe, who became the protector of the Rajapaksa family, must also resign.
The Trade Union Coordination Centre also held a demonstration opposite the Kurunagala Teaching Hospital this afternoon.
We were reminding our leaders not to have any deals. Ranil and Gota must now stop the conspiracies and answer the issues faced by the people. If you can't, you must resign. If you don't, as the Trade Union Coordination Centre, we will launch an island-wide Hartal program.
A continuous Satyagraha program is currently ongoing in the Dambulla city, demanding the President and the Prime Minister to step down. The demonstration was held in the Uwa Paranagama in solidarity with the people at the Gota Gogama protest site.
We all want to chase away Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Ranil Wickremesinghe because of what they did to this country. We don't have fuel to go anywhere, even if we have a vehicle. What we can do now is to protest against them in the streets and to support the people's struggle. We are doing our best to support this struggle.
Another protest under the theme "May the People's Struggle Win" was held opposite the bus terminal in Horana. This protest was organised by the National People's Power.
We decided to chase away the clan led by Gotabaya and Ranil. And for this, we organised peaceful people's struggles and we all witnessed the real power of the people.
Samagi Janabalawege organised a protest in Uhana, Ampara today.
Gotabaya Rajapaksa, stop hiding and come out and resign. And Ranil Wickremesinghe, you don't have a mandate to remain as the Prime Minister, so you must also resign. We are protesting to urge the government to step down and allow a people's-friendly administration to take over.
ජනතාවාදී ආණ්ඩුවකට ඉඩ සලසලා වහාම ඉල්ලා අස්සන්න කියන එකයි අපි අද මේ විරෝධතා පවත්වලා කියන්නේ.
Meanwhile, a special meeting among several key opposition factions took place in Colombo today.
The Samagi Janabalawege, the Sri Lanka Freedom Party and independent MPs met for talks at the office of the opposition leader today. Three matters were discussed at the meeting. First, if a party has the desire to bring the country back to normalcy in 3 months, they can take over the post of Prime Minister. Second, if there is a group or party with majority power within Parliament, both of them can hold the office of President and Prime Minister alternately. Finally, the various groups or parties within the Parliament who have majority powers should negotiate with the party leaders regarding the 4 positions of President, Prime Minister, Leader of the Opposition and Speaker and accept those positions. But those who become President or Prime Minister cannot be appointed as President and Prime Minister in the future. As the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, we do not accept anything. We have given the first option to the Janata Vimukti Peramuna. We think the JVP should accept the position of Prime Minister and carry on with its work if they are able to return the country to normalcy within 3 months. After those 3 months, we can go for an election.
දෙවෙනි ඔප්ෂන් එක සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මහත්තයා.
ඔව් සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මහත්මයා සහ දැනට කතා වෙන්නේ දලසලා අපිරුම මහත්මයා ගැන තමයි අපි යම් අදහසක් තියෙන්නේ.
ඔබතුමාගේ නායකයා සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ජනාධිපතිකමේ පළපුරුද්ද තියෙනවා. එතුමාවත් යෝජනා කරන්න ඔබතුමාලා කැමති?
නෑ අපි දැනට එහෙම බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ. අපි බලන්නේ පුළුවන් තරම් වෙන විදියකට මේක හැන්ඩල් කරගන්න.
දවසක ආවොත් එහෙම මේ කවුරුත් මේක If a day comes by when no one is willing to accept it, the Sri Lanka Freedom Party is ready to accept these positions. Because as a party that has been in power for the longest time in this country, if no one accepts this, we cannot let the country go into a state of anarchy. We are ready to accept that challenge.
ඔබතුමාලා යම් එකකතාවයකට ආවත් තවමත් අග්‍රාමාත්‍යවරයා සිටින්නේ ඔහුගේ මතය ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදී ව්‍යවස්ථානුකූලව කටයුතු කළ යුතුයි කියන කාරණය.
I think there's an argument because the term depends only on the election of the next president. That means only until the 20th.
ඊළඟ ජනාධිපතිවරයා පත් කර ගැනීම අතර පමණයි. يعني 20 වෙනිදා වෙනකම් විතරයි.
සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මහතා ඊයේ ප්‍රකාශ කරන ජනාධිපතිවරයා බාර ගන්න සූදානම් කියලා. ඒතකොට දැන් ඔබතුමාලා සමගදී සාකච්ඡාවට එන තුරු සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මහතාට සහයෝගය ලබා දෙන්න සූදානම් ප්‍රකාශ කරන කෙනා
මේ ඒක යම් යම් මතභේද තිබෙනවා.
There are some disagreements about each other. The members of the Samagi Jana Balavegya have taken a decision that he should come forward. But there are those who hold alternative views.
කියලා තීරණයක් කරන් තිබෙනවා. විකල්ප මත දරන අයත් ඉන්නවා.
ජනාධිපති සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස අගමැති කවුද එතකොට?
අගමැති කමට පොහොට්ටුවෙන්
There are several breakaway groups from the SLPP. There is room to hand it over to a group with more MPs from among those groups.
සංඛ්‍යාවක් තියෙන කණ්ඩායමක් ඒක බාර දීමට අවකාශයක් තිබෙනවා. අපි දැන් තීරණ ගන්නේ පක්ෂ 10ක්.
We take decisions with involvement of 10 parties. I am saying that at this time my personal opinion is that the president should be appointed from the opposition. The prime minister should be appointed from the side of the government.
පත් වෙන්න ඕන ජනාධිපති. අගමැති පත් වෙන්න ඕන.
දේශපාලන කුමන්ත්‍රණයක් දියත් වෙමින් පවතිනවා. දැන් රටේම ජනතාව
A political conspiracy is currently happening. People of this country are in hope of an all-party government. Not just people in this country, but also people overseas are expecting this. For that to happen, a clear opposition with responsibility should be formed for the government, because the SLPP does not have a mandate. President has no way to flee the country. So if the SLPP is trying to make Ranil Wickremesinghe the president and to further protect the Rajapaksa regime, that is a great betrayal, a blow to the hopes of the young and all other people of this country.
කරනවා නම් එතන තියෙන මහා පාවාදීම රටේ තරුණයන්ගේ රටේ ජනතාවගේ බලාපොරොත්තු සුන්නද්දෝලි කිරීම.
මහමැතිවරණයේදී ජනතාව පරාජයට පත් කරපු රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්මයා ජාතික ලැයිස්තුවෙන් පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට ඇවිල්ලා ජනවරමක් දැනට නැති ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂගේ
Ranil Wickremesinghe, who was defeated by the people in the election, who entered the parliament from the national list, who got into the prime minister's seat under the security of Gotabaya Rajapaksa, is now starting to play a new game. We hear that he is trying to become the president with the votes of the SLPP. So we must clearly state that Ranil Wickremesinghe cannot remain in power as Prime Minister. He has no right to contest or canvass for presidency. The SLPP ministers should also understand that they have no right to extend their support to bring Ranil Wickremesinghe, who has no people's mandate, into the president's chair or even to remain as Prime Minister. We would like to tell Wickremesinghe to stop trying to sabotage the people's struggle.
අගමැති ධූරයේ තියාගන්න හෝ ජනාධිපති ධූරයට පත් කරන්න සහයෝගය ලබා දෙන්න. ඒ නිසා අපි ඊටාම පැහැදිලිව කියන්න කැමතියි දැන් අරගලය ආරම්භ වුණා. පළවෙනි වතාවට කොළඹට ආවා. දෙවෙනි වතාවට කොළඹට ආවිලා ජනාධිපතිවරයාට යන්න සිද්ධ වුණා. ඒ නිසා තවදුරටත් මේ අරගලය විකෘතියට පත් කරමින් මේ රට ලේවිලක් බවට පත් කිරීමේ සූදානම් වන්න එපා කියන එක අපි රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්මයාට කියනවා.
Parliamentarian party lead Champika Ranawaka, who recently decided to become independent, has said it's time for the President and the Prime Minister to leave.
We hope that Gotabaya Rajapaksa will resign tomorrow without playing any more political games. Currently, there have been several ideas between the parties about the next government. One group says that the next government should stabilize the country for a few months and go for a general election. Simultaneously, there is another opinion that two people who cannot take advantage of an election should be the President and the Prime Minister. Sajid Premadasa has already stated his interest. We can see that Dallas Alaha Peruma has such an ambition, although he has not yet publicly publicly announced it. A secret election may be held on the 20th of July without further complicating the situation. All the Rajapaksas should make a statement to the nation tomorrow, especially Mahinda Rajapaksa's resignation from politics, which is the best way to calm the people at this juncture. I think now is the time for the Prime Minister to make a decision, because not only these Rajapaksas but also the Parliament should give room for an all-party government, and the Prime Minister should leave. According to the Constitution, he can resign. Who says that there is no such thing in the Constitution? The Prime Minister can resign. His appointing authority is the President. You can resign by submitting a letter to the President. If the majority of Parliament does not agree, the Prime Minister cannot remain in office. You don't have to make the situation more complicated by talking in such a manner. Some deal makers should understand well that there is a struggle here for the people. There has already been enough destruction.
Meanwhile, the National Freedom Party, led by Vimal Veeravansa, is calling for an all-party government to be appointed.
After the resignation of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa or the resignation of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, a new interim all-party administration should be established. We present this proposal on how to do it. An all-party conference should be held. At that all-party conference, the new president should present his roadmap, his plans, openly and transparently to the country. His solutions to these crucial burning issues should be presented to the country and the nation. A National People's Assembly should be established in such a way that all the members of the Parliament are involved and all the other parties are represented, as I mentioned earlier. That Council and the National Executive Council should jointly implement a National Monitoring Council.
Veeravansa also commented on a single-person protest against him recently.
I would like to say something else. I thought someone would ask about that person who was talking to the media the day before yesterday.
Who, Daniel, ne? Sean Daniel? Devan. I
think he's a resident of Mirihana. He must be Burger by race. This was done by a certain TV channel. The people in the newsroom of that TV channel have been waiting very eagerly for this. It's the cameraman of that channel who was able to shoot this with prior preparation, because others did not know about this. They could not capture it properly on their cameras. It is a different kind of action. Just like the instigation to set fire to Ranil Wickremesinghe's house. That channel wants to artificially portray that we cannot go to the public now. That has been the impression of me for a long time. They have attacked me to the maximum. I've been attacked by them, but I'm still in politics. They cannot decide our political journey. Thank you.
The People's Assembly, represented by the Mahasangha, religious leaders, civil and trade activists, convened a media briefing today.
We are informing the opposition leaders and all the MPs to stop their party struggle, stop the power struggle and come to a common agreement. If you cannot reach a common agreement in appointing this president, we are ready to present appropriate people for that. 5 people must step down from the national list and we will nominate suitable people for those positions. Now the victory of the struggle is to establish a government and a governance structure. We cannot function like the struggle based on our whims and fancies. The country has a constitution, so we have to go according to the existing constitution of the country and the existing traditions of the country until the day they are changed. 5 names should be proposed to the president to be appointed as the prime minister. That is the process that is required. Some actions are bringing disrepute to the struggle. Therefore, we urge all those occupying these premises to think far ahead. We need to bring back the security situation to normalcy. We also need to protect the national resources.
Main sponsor. Earn a highest interest rate of 21% for 4 months fixed deposits. LB Yasaisuru.
Still in local news, now a motion was filed today seeking to prevent Mahinda Rajapaksa, Basil Rajapaksa and several others from leaving the country.
A motion was filed with the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka today seeking an order prohibiting former finance ministers Mahinda Rajapaksa and Basil Rajapaksa and former central bank governors Ajit Niwad Cabral and Professor W.D. Lakshman from travelling overseas. The motion was submitted in relation to a fundamental rights petition filed by Chandra Jayaratne, the former president of the Sri Lanka Chamber of Commerce, and other factions, requesting that an investigation be ordered against the people responsible for the current economic crisis. The fundamental rights petition was filed requesting an order to conduct an investigation against the people responsible for the current economic crisis and is scheduled to be called before the Supreme Court on the 27th of July. The application requests for an order to be made against former finance ministers Mahinda Rajapaksa, Basil Rajapaksa and former central bank governors Ajit Niwad Cabral and Professor W.D. Lakshman and former Secretary of the Ministry of Finance S.R. Atigala, preventing them from travelling overseas without the permission of court. The motion noted that due to the current situation in the country, the President, who is also a respondent in the fundamental rights application, is away from the public eye and there is an attempt being made by other respondents to leave the country. The petition by Transparency International Sri Lanka, Chandra Jayaratne, Jehan Kanagaratne and Julian Bowling claims that the respondents named in the petition are directly responsible for the unsustainability of Sri Lanka's foreign debt, its hard default on foreign loan repayments and the current state of the economy of Sri Lanka.
Bread and bakery product prices will increase with effect from midnight today.
The price of a 450-gram loaf of bread will increase by 20 rupees with effect from midnight today. Accordingly, the new price of a 450-gram loaf of bread will be 190 rupees. In addition, the prices of all other bakery products will be increased by 10 rupees. The price of flour in Sri Lanka has been increased by 34 rupees since yesterday midnight. It is the fourth time within this year that prices increase. The price of flour, which was at 84 rupees and 50 cents, has increased by 400%. We need to know why prices increased this much. All bakery owners of this country have fallen into the streets by now. Currently, only a small amount is produced, but we feel that will also completely stop.
Archaeologists visited the colonial-era president's house today, concerned over the preservation of a structure with airy verandas, spacious bedrooms and a neatly maintained garden.
A group of Sri Lankan archaeologists led by Director General of Archaeology Senior Professor Anura Manatunga visited the President's house occupied by Sri Lankan protesters for talks on preserving the premises. The items of historic value inside the premises do not belong to Gotabaya Rajapaksa. They belong to the people. We decided to obtain assistance from the Department of Archaeology and other agencies to preserve the premises. Scene of crime officers from the Sri Lanka police today closely inspected the site where shots were fired from the premises of the President's house. Several members of the public were also seen sweeping up broken chairs and glass from damaged windows, a sign of rage that swept through on Saturday.
Large crowds continue to snake their way to the President's house to witness what was inside the most protected residence in the country after it was overrun by Sri Lankans demanding the President's resignation. Newsfirst's Senitha Senanayake filed this report.
It was one of the most significant incidents in the history of Sri Lanka. On the 9th of July, the people of Sri Lanka stormed into the President's office, President's house and temple trees. Decisions made in these iconic buildings changed the lives of citizens in every part of the island. Now that they are under the authority of the people, what does it look like today? The People's Library that used to be at Gotakogama is now at the President's office, open to the public. Large crowds were seen waiting in queue to witness a glimpse of a building that was never open to them. Why? Because the area was designated as a high security zone. The President's house that was overrun in a matter of minutes on the 9th of July is open to the public as thousands wait patiently in line for a glimpse of how a president lived in the most secure house in Sri Lanka. Unfortunately, visitors are left in awe as some parts of this historic structure have been defaced and damaged. Last year, when the Capitol Hill building in America was breached into by Americans, it was damaged heavily. In Sri Lanka, however, that is not the case. This is the President's house. It is open to the public now. As you can see, minor damages have been reported here and there. But as you can see behind me, the protesters at the struggle have made an active effort to keep this building with archaeological value safe and secure.
This is a palace with a proud history of more than 300 years. Our children did not have an opportunity to visit such a place until recently. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa will resign on the 13th. We are expecting that. If that doesn't happen tomorrow, we will remain here. We will not hand any of this over. We are not here to destroy the government property. We are here to protect it.
Footage released on social media over the weekend showed how hundreds were cramped inside the President's house, pushed against the furniture and other objects. Today, Sri Lankans who demand change have taken it upon themselves to protect this site and preserve its historic, political and archaeological value.
Now, what happened to the stash of money found at the President's house? Let's take a look.
On the 9th of July, the day Sri Lankans ran over the President's house, a group discovered around 17 million rupees in cash from the premises and handed it over to the police.
හරි එයා තමයි මේ හරි බලතරේ අපි යාට කලං කරලා පාර දෙනවා. එයා දියුමක් ලියලා ඔයගොල්ලන් තස්සන්න අර එයා ගිහිල්ලා ඒක උසාවි භාණ්ඩයක් කරගන්න. ගොඩක් අය ටිකක් උඩට දැම්මද පුළුවන් කරා. කෝටියයි ලක්ෂ 70යි. කෝටියයි ලක්ෂ 70යි.
To a short commercial break, stay tuned to News First. We will be right back.
Eva Trusted Confidence now has a fresh new feel. For the first time in Sri Lanka, Eva unveiled an antibacterial layer to minimize microbial growth and control odor, helping you stay fresher throughout the day. Now with maximum absorption. Available in cotton feel wings for maximum comfort and Drytex wings for maximum dryness. Eva, leading with confidence.
Welcome back. You're watching Primetime News on News First. Moving on. Now, crisis hit Sri Lanka announced a day of mourning as a mark of respect for former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and a group of people who visited the Japanese embassy in Colombo today expressed their condolences over the passing of Shinzo Abe. Meanwhile, a group of the SLFP led by former President Maithripala Sirisena visited the Gangarama temple in Colombo today to offer merits on the late Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Meanwhile, fugitive former governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Arjuna Mahendran, has told CNN Philippines that the Sri Lankan government is finding it difficult to persuade lenders.
The foreign exchange reserves of the country have plunged to almost zero, and there's no money to import a lot of the food that Sri Lankans need. And they don't grow many of the foodstuffs that are staples in the country. Fuel and other imports are also affected. So the lack of foreign exchange has to be, as you say, addressed by some sort of new lending. Because of the accumulation of previous debts, the government is finding it very difficult to persuade lenders, even neighboring India, to put in fresh money. I'm informed that the Prime Minister is back at work. He's in his office. So the government is functioning. And as I said, there are crucial talks going on regarding the economy and economic policy in general, which has to be set right fast before this economic crisis really results in starvation and unnecessary pain for the population of Sri Lanka.
Arjuna Mahendran is the first suspect in the case filed over the central bank treasury bond scam of 2015 and 2016. In the treasury bond scam, Perpetual Treasuries Limited, a primary dealer company owned by Arjuna Aloysius, benefited from insider information given by then governor of the central bank Arjun Mahendran, who is also the father-in-law of Aloysius. According to reports, he fled Sri Lanka for Singapore soon after the irregularities in the central bank bond transaction came to light and the commencement of the investigations from different establishments. Extradition requests made from Singapore along with the 2 red notices for the arrest of former central bank governor Arjun Mahendran issued through Interpol are still pending a response.
Well, with that, it's a wrap of your news tonight. This is News First, where the people come first. I'm Mariam Gunavijaya. Good night and take care.
ඇත්ත කෙටියෙන් දත්ත වැඩියෙන් සයිබර් අවකාශයේ කළඹන වුවත් සලකුණ News First YouTube channel එක අදම subscribe කරන්න. News First ජනතාව සමග